In a single second, Annie watches Hughie get completely blown apart right in front of her. And in pure rage, she instantly snaps the attacker's neck. But there's just one problem. How exactly are you supposed to bring Hughie back from that? The Boys returns with another insane episode, and this one starts with Homelander publicly calling Soldier Boy his father.
This great hero is my father.
But don't get it twisted. This isn't some emotional reunion. Homelander is basically using public opinion to trap Soldier Boy at his side forever. At the same time, Sister Sage finally figures out why Soldier Boy survived the anti-soup virus. The reason is terrifying. Soldier Boy still has the original version of Compound V inside his body, and apparently, first-generation Compound V was way stronger than the modern version. Not only did it massively boost powers, it also slowed aging to almost immortality. Homelander immediately asks the obvious question.
I'm his son. Am I immune too?
Unfortunately for him, nope. Homelander was made using the newer Compound V formula, and the original version supposedly no longer exists. But before leaving, Soldier Boy suddenly starts roasting Homelander. He accuses him of intentionally waking him up just to use him as a shield against the virus.
Look at you. Just the softest, wettest boy. I'll be running the 7. Not Sherry Lewis's tits. If the virus doesn't get you, time will. And you'll die.
And honestly, that completely destroys Homelander emotionally, because getting humiliated by his own father is apparently this man's breaking point. Soon, Homelander starts spiraling so badly he can barely breathe. And then he sees Stillwell again. Yep, Homelander is hallucinating his dead mommy figure now. Stillwell comforts him like a child and tells him this was always destined to happen, because Homelander is about to become a god. And according to her, anyone who doesn't worship him deserves to die. The craziest part? Homelander actually hesitates for a second, until Stillwell gives him one final mission. And yes, it's exactly as weird as you think. At this point, this isn't really Stillwell anymore. It's basically Homelander's completely broken obsession with control, comfort, and motherhood taking physical form inside his head. Meanwhile, Butcher's team also learns Soldier Boy is still alive. The scientist finally realizes the virus failed because it was designed to target modern Compound V, not the original formula inside Soldier Boy's body, which means if Homelander somehow finds more first-generation Compound V, they may never be able to stop him. So the team immediately decides they need to act fast. The only problem? Nobody knows where Homelander has disappeared to. Luckily, Annie knows someone who might have answers. Stan Edgar, the former Vought CEO. Moments later, the group is suddenly attacked by a girl with tentacles shooting out of her mouth. Turns out, it's Zoe. Thankfully, Edgar shows up before anyone gets murdered. And because everyone now hates Homelander, they quickly form an uneasy alliance. Edgar then takes them deep underground into a heavily fortified bunker and reveals the horrifying origins of the original Compound V. When the group arrives at Edgar's hidden bunker, they suddenly run into Maverick, Translucent's invisible son, and things immediately get awkward because Hughie was technically responsible for blowing up his father back in season 1. But before things can escalate, it turns out Edgar has manipulated Maverick into believing Homelander was actually the one responsible.
Killed my dad. Wow, Homelander. That fucking motherfucker.
Apparently, the first version of Compound V was developed during Nazi-era human experimentation. Thousands of people died before the formula finally worked. And after Vought defected to America, the experiments simply continued under a different flag. While searching through the files, the team repeatedly notices one name: Fort Harmony, a heavily classified military hospital with almost all records erased. That's when Frenchie realizes they might be able to recover the missing information back at Butcher's base. Meanwhile, outside the bunker, Butcher secretly meets Ryan. And this scene gets dark, because Butcher's plan is basically to turn Ryan into a suicide weapon against Homelander. All Ryan has to do is call Homelander for a meeting, and Butcher will release the virus when he arrives. The problem? Ryan would probably die too. But Butcher keeps pushing anyway.
Homelander your mum. He's gonna burn everything down, and you are the only one who can stop him.
He even tells Ryan about his abusive father, explaining how some people are simply too dangerous to stay alive. And surprisingly, Ryan actually starts agreeing with him. To fully gain Ryan's trust, Butcher even takes him back to his secret base and introduces him to Becca's old dog. And for a brief moment, Ryan genuinely looks happy again, which means something horrible is obviously about to happen. Back at the base, Frenchie and Kimiko finally decode the Fort Harmony files. But before they can celebrate, everything falls apart, because Zoe secretly followed them there. At first, she wanted revenge against Butcher for killing her mother, but after entering the lab, she unexpectedly finds her own father still alive. The scientist discovers Butcher lied to him the entire time. Homelander never killed his family, Butcher did. And after learning the truth, he destroys all the anti-soup virus samples before escaping with Zoe.
Please, don't make me shoot your papa. No.
But Kimiko refuses to let Frenchie shoot them, because after everything she's been through, she refuses to drag another innocent child into this nightmare. Meanwhile, Ryan becomes impatient. If Homelander is truly dangerous, why wait any longer?
Without that germ, you'd just be another stupid kid on a f***ing suicide run.
You said I was the only one who could stop him. You said it was my destiny.
I just said that so you get him out of the tower.
Same old lying, pathetic asshole.
Ryan.
At the exact same time, Edgar's bunker suddenly goes into lockdown. Deep and Noir have arrived because Homelander is also searching for the original Compound V. Edgar confidently claims the bunker is impossible to breach. 30 meters underground, reinforced steel, bulletproof doors, but seconds later, one of the soups outside literally melts the door. Meanwhile, Homelander orders Sister Sage to recreate the original Compound V formula. And to test it, he plans to experiment on captured Annie supporters, because somehow this man keeps getting worse every episode.
This is wonderful.
Back inside the bunker, M comes up with a desperate plan. Maverick will sneak outside and gas Deep unconscious. And honestly, Hughie clearly feels guilty around him the entire time. The mission actually works at first, but unfortunately for them, there's a fourth soup outside they didn't know about. And the second Deep recognizes Maverick.
Is that you, bro?
Everything goes
One
wrong.
of my dad's best friends. How come you never told me it was Homelander that killed him?
Bro, Homelander didn't kill your dad. It was Butcher's crew.
Moments later, the bunker doors open. Deep and Noir immediately storm inside. Edgar escapes almost instantly, but completely abandons Annie, Hughie, and M behind. And because Annie can't absorb enough electricity underground, she's basically powerless. Noir manages to capture Edgar first, but before he can bring him back to Homelander, Deep suddenly notices the knockout gas canister Maverick dropped earlier. So the absolute idiot throws the gas straight into Noir's vehicle, knocking both of them out instantly. And while Noir is unconscious, Deep literally drags him out of the car and leaves him on the side of the road just so he can steal the credit himself. Things somehow get even worse when Hughie is suddenly attacked by Maverick himself. The invisible Soups completely beats the hell out of him while blaming him for his father's death. And just when Hughie is about to die, another Soup walks in, a Soup capable of exploding people with a single gesture. She raises her hand toward Hughie. Annie freezes in terror, and then Hughie suddenly explodes right in front of her. Or at least, that's what she thinks, because a second later they realize the invisible Maverick accidentally took the hit instead. Turns out invisibility becomes a huge problem when your teammate can't see who she's targeting. Meanwhile, Butcher secretly tracks Ryan using a hidden locator device he planted earlier. And just like Butcher predicted, Ryan eventually calls Homelander to meet him. Homelander immediately shows up looking genuinely excited. For the first time in a while, he thinks Ryan might actually accept him again. Instead, Ryan immediately asks the question Homelander never wanted to hear.
Did you my mom?
What? Of course not. Your mother and I, we had an affair. A consensual affair between
And seconds later, Ryan attacks him. At first, Homelander is thrilled because Ryan is finally fighting seriously. But once Ryan starts going for lethal attacks, Homelander finally fights back, and Ryan gets absolutely destroyed. As Ryan lies helpless on the ground, Homelander suddenly seems to realize something. He might live forever. Ryan doesn't need to carry all the pressure Homelander forced onto him anymore. So for one horrifying moment, Homelander decides to kill him. But at the final second, he hesitates, because no matter how broken Homelander is, Ryan is still his son. Back at the bunker, the survivors regroup. The virus is gone, the scientist escaped, Butcher disappeared, but they do manage to uncover one final clue hidden in the Fort Harmony documents. Back in 1963, an entire scout troop was discovered mutilated near the surrounding forest, which means whatever happened there was probably horrifying. Annie, however, is completely shaken after almost watching Hughie die, so she decides she'd rather work alone than ever experience that fear again. And meanwhile, Homelander sits alone pretending to hold a baby bottle in his hands, desperately trying to calm himself down. Right as Deep excitedly arrives to brag about capturing Edgar, which honestly might be the only good thing Homelander's heard all week. Finally, Butcher locates Ryan's body. At first he assumes Homelander finished the job, but after checking closely, he realizes Ryan is still alive, because in the end, Homelander still couldn't bring himself to do it. And that's where episode 3 ends. I'm Nova, currently reviewing movies and TV shows for 15 subscribers. See you guys in the next episode.